Hello, my Archeage friends. This is Arid. In-game name is September on the Thunderwing as well as the public test server. In this video, what we're going to do is take a look at the cost to regrade weapons and armor. Okay, so what I'm talking about when I say regrade cost is the actual gold cost it takes to regrade an item at each level. I want to ensure that any newer players out there who are unfamiliar with how regrading works in Archeage, so I want to explain that process just a little bit so that everybody that watches this video is on the same page. Okay, so when you regrade something in Archeage, you have some risk and it can get very expensive. So let me explain, at least for now, how it currently works in Archeage 4.0. So the way the regrading works here is each item can be regraded with a armor, weapon, or in some cases accessory regrade scrolls, and those fall into the categories under their namesake, like you use armor scrolls to regrade armor. Okay, as you go up in grade, and when I'm talking grade, I mean, is it grand, is it rare, is it arcane, is it epic, legendary, mythic? That is what I mean when I say grade. The higher the grade, the more gold it will cost you. Additionally, higher quality weapons, for example, tier 7 obsidian and the Ionad weapons, will cost you more. So throughout this process, you can use regrade charms, and those will modify the success chances or failure. And then there's also something that is called resplendent regrade scrolls, which of those are made with the lucky star, sun, and moon points. And they actually provide you a 20% chance of whatever the chance is to upgrade, to completely skip the next grade and actually go up 2 grades. So, for example, if you have a celestial item and you use a resplendent regrade scroll, there is a 20% chance of the chance for it to go up that it actually skips divine and goes right to epic. You probably all are familiar with that, or seen people. Those are the regrade messages that pop up in game when you see, you know, such and such got a great success and it went from celestial to epic or whatever. Okay, so what else? Once an item gets to the grade of celestial, then there is a chance for that item to break, like get destroyed currently, or get downgraded back to arcane, which means you have to go back up to heroic, up to unique, and back up to celestial and try again. Now once you get to divine, only 2 options. It either goes up or it blows up. Now that's if you're not using a no break charm, but that's for another video. So on top of the scrolls and the optional charms, there's always a gold cost. And as you would expect, the higher grade or the higher quality of weapon, the gold cost to do that regrade goes up. So that is pretty much how regrading works in a nutshell. And there are times, like this very recent regrade event that just is ending probably right as I do this video, we actually had a double chance of succeeding anything below celestial. And then on top of that, the celestial was no break. That is not normal. That is very rare that those events happen. And most people save up pretty much for half a year to take advantage of those events. But for the most part, regrading is an expensive thing to do, and going into it, you should know fully your chance of success and the cost associated with it, as well as the risk. So in the early days of Archeage, we didn't even know the chance to go up. And when I'm talking about chance, if you put a item in the regrade window and a scroll, it tells you the chance. XL just actually released that like a year ago, well, maybe a little over a year ago, and made those regrade chances public. We had an idea, but it was all speculation. XL finally confirmed it and hard-coded it into the game. So the regrade UI, again, it tells you, like if you look here, the chance of success. So we now at least know the chance of something going up. And with that basic knowledge of when something can go up and when something can downgrade or even break, we have most of the pieces of the puzzle. The last piece of the puzzle is the gold cost. Regrading attempts can cost over 1,000 gold per attempt, which I'm sure I don't have to tell you, that is a substantial amount of gold. To that end, I've been working with let's call him a friend from Discord, Lavectra, in creating a spreadsheet that would tell you the exact cost to regrade your item, the exact gold cost. What the important part of this is once you know the exact cost of scrolls, the gold, and the charms, if you choose to use them, you can use probability to determine the value of any item or how much something is worth at any grade. This is something that I've actually had to do myself in my Ionad and Aranor crafting spreadsheets. I've done this in the past. There's videos here on my channel if you want to look at them. So what I did is I figured the regrade cost for those spreadsheets, and I just simply used a percentage increase for a particular item and then applied that percentage increase across the board. However, what Lavectra has showed me is that it is a little bit deeper than that. So what Excel uses to get these gold costs is what they consider a exponential growth curve, and that changes for each category of items. Simply put, while my method in the past was somewhat close, this new data is much more accurate, if not exact. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the spreadsheet here in just a minute, but I wanted to give some really big props to Lavectra, who started this spreadsheet and reached out to me only to find that I was willing to help. This poor soul, he was actually going through, combing through these regrade videos that people post on Twitch and YouTube and recording every single value that he could. So when he reached out to me, he probably had like 30%, maybe 40% of the data points on this spreadsheet, but he was actually missing some very important ones. And actually, after I looked at it, it was ones that he was likely not gonna find when he was watching any video. So why am I saying that? Well, for example, there probably isn't a single video in existence that is going to show anybody the regrade cost of a tier 7 obsidian grand to rare cost, because anybody that is actually enduring the upgrade cost to go from tier 6 to tier 7 would be off their rocker if they were to go if they were to make that tier 7 at grand grade. So that is where the test server, myself, and Tryon comes in. Yep, once again, Tryon has helped the community again by providing the resources needed to get this information to the public. And if you haven't noticed it yet, Tryon is really doing a good job at helping us content creators get you this information so we can get it to the community. So as I said in my video about socketing cost, and it started with a single person asking me a question, or in this case contacting me. Then we add a little help from Tryon and a little bit of my time, and what we end up with as a community working together is that now we have some hard data that we can use from this day forward. Okay, so let's get into this spreadsheet. The one that we're looking at here in this video is maintained by Lavectra, and I think I have admin access to it, but I don't want to mess with it. And just go to the link and it should be pretty straightforward. You can jump there if you got dual monitors or something like that right now and just follow along. Okay, so the way it works is items like weapons and armors are grouped in their regrade cost groups. So what I mean by a regrade cost group is all one-handed weapons, for example. Shields and instruments are also their own group because they're grouped by the fees. So a shield and an instrument cost exactly the same. A dagger, a sword, a one-hand club, a one-hand short spear, one-handed axe. All those are grouped together because they have the same regrade cost. He has then used a exponential growth function to map the cost of the values in which we don't have any data for. So when you're looking at this spreadsheet, if you don't see like a point number, the figure is actually a calculated one. So let me just show you what I mean. For example, if you look here at this Delphinod legendary value that's on this spreadsheet here in this video, he's calculated that at 726 gold. Well, everything else in this row has the dot, X, it's whatever value dot whatever else value. It's more precise, and those precise values are taken directly from a video or in-game values, so they are exact. Whereas this 726, it's just 726. That's a good indication that that number is calculated and not precise. But how close are those calculated values? Well, I actually have a local copy, and I've been using this local copy filling out data points myself, and I actually today got an exact cost for a legendary one-hander, which is 749. Well, let's just look at the spreadsheet here. It's actually 749 gold, 51 silver, and 76 copper. And so based on his calculation of 726, he was only off by 23 gold, which is only about a 3% difference in this gold cost. I know 23 gold sounds a lot, but given the fact that it's over 700 gold, it's just a small fraction off. And what's going to happen as we add in more values to this spreadsheet, these functions are going to become that much more accurate. He's also plotted these handy little tables over here, these little charts, so you can see the growth based on the items type. So all I have to say is well done, Levectra, and thank you very much for asking me to help with this. I really enjoyed it. There also are a couple things to note. One, he hasn't added, like I said, all the values in that I have given him. I have probably, I don't know, 40 or 50 more values that he's working on getting in here. He does have a full-time job, so he's going to get to this as soon as he possibly can. I know he's really excited to get this spreadsheet updated and as complete as possible for everybody, which him and I share that same enthusiasm. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is there's a little bit of weirdness happening with the tier 7 armor. Again, this only applies to tier 7 armor. That's the brimstone armor or tier 7 obsidian armor, whatever you want to call it. For whatever reason, XL grouped leather and plate together, and those are a little bit more expensive than the cloth armor, even though they're all tier 7. It's the one outlier. So for whatever reason, the cloth is separate from the leather and plate, and it's not indicated here in the spreadsheet. In fact, what you're seeing here in the spreadsheet is likely a combination of both cloth and leather or plate values, because actually what had happened is when I was recording these values, we weren't aware that the cloth and leather and plate were on two different levels. So if I had a plate cuirass or cuirass and a cloth shirt, and let's say I got the divine from the plate, and then I had a legendary for the cloth, that's going to cause some problems, but that's the values that we had, and we didn't know it at the time that there was a difference, but after we started looking at some of this, we figured it out. So leather and plate has a little bit of a different value than the cloth. It's just a little bit more expensive. So if you're looking at the tier 7 armor pieces and they're either under or over what you're seeing, it's probably because we've recorded the other version, and it's just minor. It's not a big deal. I didn't feel like it was worth holding up releasing this data at this point. So that is pretty much it. You guys can take a look at the spreadsheet as you see fit. It's available online on Google Docs. The only thing I have left to say is that these values are for 3.5 to 4.0. That's when we got the increased regrade rates, the increased fees. However, North America and EU should be getting Archeage 4.5 within a month or two from the time in this video. And the rumor is that the regrade costs are actually going to be going down. But what we'll do is we'll use these values that are here in this spreadsheet to calculate exactly how much they have changed. And so I'm really happy that we have been able to work together with Tryon's help to get all these values done, or as close to done as we could get before 4.5, so when they change we can check them. Well, there you go. I hope you all have found this video not only helpful but also informative. That is the goal of every single video that I do. If you have questions, comments, concerns, please let me know in the comment section down below. If you would like to support me, you can like and subscribe here on YouTube first and foremost. You can also follow me on Twitch, Twitter, as well as Discord. And for those of you who would like to kick up your support to the next level, why don't you consider becoming a Patreon for as little as $1? All those links will be in the video description. Until next time, this is September saying, be well.